episode of Study Abroad Diaries, Tales Beyond Textbooks. My name is Natalie, and as always, I'll be your host for today. In this episode, we will be talking to exchange students from different countries and get their perspective on what life is like in New York for them. If any of you are planning to go to New York to study abroad in Lehman, I highly recommend you tune in. Now, we have two very special guests with us today. Please introduce yourselves.
I'm Isabel and I'm from Mexico.
Hi, I'm Yoshiko, came from Japan.
So let's jump right into the questions, right? So the first question is, how was your experience in New York differed from what you've expected?
Should I start?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think mostly I was expecting it to see more rats. And I didn't see as many rats as thankfully I didn't see as many rats. Also I was expecting it to like be more dangerous, I guess.
Oh.
But I moved around the city like very easily. And I remember like a couple of nights that I got home very, very late after midnight. And I mean, men scare me either way, but it was fine. Nothing happened. Less rats and less dangerous than I thought.
Yeah, okay. That's interesting. What about you, Yoshiko?
To be honest, I came here last summer, so I could expect how New York is. So.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Then how was it in your first time coming to New York then?
When I watched videos on YouTube about New York City, the movie was like so gorgeous. It's not.
I know. That's true, yeah. Some places in New York are very beautiful, but it does not look like the movies. It does not look like the movies all the time.
New York is really busy.
Yes. It's like it's known for the city that never sleeps. So it's always gonna be busy all the time. All right, next question. What inspired you to choose New York as your study abroad destination?
Well, it's mostly what I want to do after I graduate or what interest I have. I like film, and I was like, well, what a better place to go for film than New York. Yeah, and also I've romanticized the city my whole life, so.
That's true. What about you, Yoshiko?
When I was junior high school student, I thought I want to live in a big city like New York. So I had been dreaming of living in New York City forever.
Oh, that's awesome.
So New York is still my future dream.
Yeah, we'll be back.
Yeah, of course. And I hope you do. I hope you do come back. The next question is, what is your perspective on New York as a whole? Like, whether is it like a positive perspective, negative perspective, in general? How is it? Just the perspective of New York.
I have a pretty positive perspective. What I think what I love about it is that there's people from cultures from all over the world. I really, really love that. And like a stereotype of New York is that people are really mean here, but actually it has been pretty positive for me because the few times that I've gotten lost, I ask like complete strangers on the street for directions and they do help me.
There's a saying that we as New Yorkers say, we say that we're not really mean. We are kind to a certain extent though, because like we are very nice and we will help you out no matter to the best of our ability. However, sometimes when it's like too hot, we get like a little irritated and we just want to go to our destination right away. So it's like, yes, we are definitely very kind people. We promise we're not mean. What about you, Yoshiko?
Before I come here, I thought New York is only Manhattan.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people think too.
Yeah, but I realized New York is not only Manhattan.
And New York is awesome. Have you experienced any cultural shock moments? And how did you handle it?
I've never experienced culture shock. Yeah.
Really? Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting. Like, I
Huh.
mean, you lived in Tenerife too, so it's like
Oh,
Tenerife so
if
like
I,
calm.
if I had to say,
Hmm.
there are no restrooms compared to Japan.
Yeah, it's really dirty.
Yeah, dirty.
Mm, for me, culture shocks, I guess, hmm, because I come from a very small city, I guess being able to, I'm in a very small city with no like public transportation. So I
Oh.
guess like being able to move like as freely as I've been able to move here,
Mhm.
move around, it has been really crazy and I love that. I love being able to move like from the Bronx to Brooklyn in like an hour and
Pretty much,
yeah.
yeah. That's true. That's true.
Also, I don't know. I guess like yeah, we've established that the people here are kind, but I haven't experienced like the warmness. Like I think people in Mexico are way more like warm.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like we give kisses on the cheek and hug each other when we say hello
Yeah.
or goodbye.
Hmm. Hmm.
Yeah.
But we don't do that here. I mean,
No.
like, the thing is that New York is mixed with so many different cultures. So, like, in some cultures, we do that, like, especially Hispanic cultures. Like,
Yeah.
my family and anybody who I meet that's Hispanic, we do that, like, when we
Yeah.
greet each other. But if I'm, like, speaking with, like, a regular New Yorker, people who are born and raised here and stuff like that, and have a different culture compared to Hispanic culture, then they would act, like, give you a handshake saying, "What's up?" So we really don't have like that
Yeah.
physical contact thing here.
Yeah.
That is true. The next question is I think this is good for both of you too. How have you been navigating the language barrier, if you had any?
Yeah, so I've it hasn't been like that big of a problem for me.
Mm.
I just stutter a lot when I get nervous, but it hasn't been like a big of a problem. I've taken English classes for a long time and being involved in like big fandoms like One Direction. I was a big One Direction fan.
Oh, period.
That's what mostly taught me English. Like being on Twitter, reading fanfic, seeing interviews. That's how I learn English mostly. But also a lot of people here speak Spanish. So
Yes,
if I'm having like trouble like getting an idea across, I'll just say it in Spanish because I I've I've found out that at least one person in the room is gonna speak Spanish.
that's true. That is very true.
Yeah.
What about you?
Mm, when I struggle with English, just I ask what people said over and over.
I mean, that's the best way to learn English, learn any language,
Yeah.
actually, as a matter of fact. Like having that first hand like experience will always help you improve, I feel. Like if you are willing to try and also be willing to make mistakes as well. Because making mistakes is the number one thing that people should be open to make, especially when it comes to speaking the language,
Yeah.
I think, personally. So
Yeah. And also we shouldn't feel ashamed to like make mistakes because we're learning.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's not anything to be ashamed of, and you shouldn't be afraid of speaking because it's like, oh, what if I say this thing wrong? What if I offend somebody by accident? Like they will understand that you're still learning, and they will just try to help you. At least pretty decent people. Like nobody's gonna be like, oh my god, just shut up, you can't speak. Don't speak. Nobody's gonna say that unless they're crazy. So, you know. All right. The next question is how do you balance academics with exploring the city and socializing?
Hmm. Honestly, badly. But I've never been good at balancing like my school life with my
Yeah, me
well,
too.
I don't really have like a big social life, but on in general, I've never been able to be good at balancing my school life. I mean, ask anyone back home. School is pretty difficult for me. At the end, I always make it.
Yeah,
I rarely fail a class. I think I haven't failed a single class in college. One in first semester. Um, but it is really difficult for me in general. But I managed,
Yeah,
the
I'm about
teachers. Yeah, usually if you talk to the professors, they'll allow you to handle hand something in a little late.
that is true. Yeah, trust.
Yeah.
You
So
don't
you just
want to
gotta
see
have communication with your
my
professors.
assignments are so behind. You have no idea. So
Yeah, mine too.
Yeah, like as Isabel said, I'm not good at balancing academic life and then like social life.
mm-hmm.
But I was greedy. It's correct. Greedy, greedy.
Greedy. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
greedy. I wanted to. I want to experience everything in New York.
Yeah.
period.
But
Period.
yeah, but I learned it's important to take a time for myself alone, especially in the city life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's true. That is really good insight, though, for sure. Now the next one is okay. This one's a very interesting one. How does the academic system in New York differ from your home country's education system?
Hmm.
My college has not a lot of assignments, so I don't need to think about like the answer for
Yeah,
quiz. Because my educational system in Japan is focused on memorizing the answer. So it's so.
I agree. I agree. I went to Tenry too, and
uh,
I was surprised that I didn't get no homework. I'm like, they're not gonna give us any worksheets or anything or like
yeah,
assignments. And I was like, I was cruising. I was cruising for sure. It was a vibe. What about you?
Um. For me, well, I don't think it's that different. Like the education system, we do get as well a lot of assignments. If anything, I think I've had a little less assignments here.
Really?
Yeah,
mm,
Ooh,
like we use Blackboard as well.
yeah.
Um, yeah, it's honestly it's not that different. I haven't have a hard time like um with the differences.
All right. So moving on to the next question. What's one thing that you find uniquely New York that you can't get anywhere else?
Hmm.
it, city, but
Nothing you can find anywhere else. It's only in New York.
I think the pizza slices.
Oh,
They're
I
really
think
good. They're really, really good.
that's true. That's true.
What else?
if I want to experience something
Mm,
in New York, I can do it. Like it's easy to see a new people, to
yeah,
interact new people.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
that's
I
true.
feel New York is like it's up to me.
Yeah, that is
Yeah,
true. That is true.
exactly. Like if one day you wake up and say, I want to try something new, you can just
Yeah,
go do it
That's
yeah, you
true.
can do it.
That's true. And
very
it's not
easily.
difficult to do it either.
Yeah. And that's like the tragedy of living in a small city because you honestly, you can't do anything.
Yeah,
That's fair. That's valid.
I agree.
I'm going to the food topic. What's your favorite food in New York and where do you go get it?
Bagel
Ooh. Where do you buy your bagels usually?
anywhere.
Really? So anywhere in New York, you're like,
Yeah.
The Tompkins bagels, I think that's what they're called. They're really good.
really?
Yeah, but also my favorite food, the one that really impressed me was the halal food.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Oh,
really good, and I
yeah.
get it at the truck by the school.
Yeah, yes. I feel
It's
like they make one
really
of the best
good.
halal food I've ever tried, to be honest.
Yeah, and it's $7 and you get a free drink.
Period.
That's a
It's
deal.
cheaper than other places. Like I went to one nearby my house, and a chicken over rice was like $12 freaking. Like that's insane.
Yeah, that's bad.
Literally
That's
insane.
like that's like 200 and something Mexican pesos. Yeah, it's really
Question
expensive.
11. What's your favorite memory in New York as of right now?
Um.
I have a lot of good. I think mostly it's not like a place specifically, but hanging out with the people I've met.
Mm-hmm.
Like the people at the office have been really welcoming and warm to me.
Period.
Hanging out with Yoshiko as well has been really, really nice for me. So I think more than like memories of a place is memories with people.
Oh, that's so
Yeah.
sweet. That's sweet.
Yeah, I agree with Isabel.
Period. Period. So let's move on to the next question, shall we? Okay, so I think we kind of talked about this a little bit, but we can expand on this. What do you think
Yeah.
about the safety in New York? How do you protect yourself from any harm, or in general?
I think like just by being aware of your surroundings is more than enough.
Mm-hmm.
Because honestly, anything can happen everywhere,
Yeah,
anywhere you are. So just be aware of your surroundings, especially when you're taking the train.
yeah,
Try not to be out too late, but if you do go out too late, just be aware
yeah,
and don't like be listening to music while you're walking on the street at 3 a.m.
yeah. That's very important too. Yeah, even
Yeah,
though you want
like
to block everything away.
I keep my headphones on.
Mhm.
So like if men on the street want to talk to me, they'll think that I'm listening to
Yeah,
music,
and they'll avoid you.
and they'll like hopefully avoid me. But I don't have music on, so I actually can hear what's going on around me.
I don't really think New York is dangerous,
Mhm.
but no, you shouldn't go to like unsafe places.
Yeah, that's true. All right. So, a next question, which is something that you guys are actually going to be talking about very soon, is have you ever explored other states or countries around here? How was that experience?
We haven't yet, but we are going to Boston next week.
I'm excited for you guys.
I went to Boston and the Maine state.
Oh, yes, you did. Yes, I'm
Yeah.
so excited for you guys.
These states were not busy.
Yeah. It's funny because I feel like every state has like its own little country, and they have like
Yeah.
different customs, different people, different culture. So even though we're like the same people, we're Americans, but we also have different things going on in our states. So it's very interesting in its own way. What's a surprising thing you've learned about American culture since arriving here?
I think I've talked about you, or at least the people in the office, about this like a couple of times. But it is really surprising to me how, like in class, like people don't talk to each other. Like we're classmates and we're supposed to like work together,
Yeah.
or like I don't know, network or something by the time we graduate.
Mm-hmm.
But people aren't talking to each other. Like they just go to class and like as soon as the class finishes, they leave. Like
Yeah.
I don't think I think I've changed like social media with like 2 classmates in total.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people are very shy. Either they're shy or they're like they want to go home. So
Yeah.
it's in
I
between the
think
two.
that's mostly it.
Yeah, because once everybody's done with classes, they go straight home, or they have to work, or they have to have a kid to take care of a kid, or they have a part time. So it's like
Yeah.
there's so much things that play in it, and because there's a wide range of ages in Lehman, it's kind of hard to make friends as well. So that is definitely very true.
Yeah, because my experience like back home is just like we even stay like longer than we should in school because we're talking to each other,
Mm.
you know?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah.
That's true. It's the fast paced environment. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I agree with that. But yeah, for now, I'm not surprised about America.
That's good on the bright side. Hey, at least you like, I feel like when you research a lot about the country, it's kind of hard to get surprised with a lot of things. I mean,
Yeah.
obviously, like college life is slightly different, but like because American like politics and everything like that is so out there, like I feel like everybody knows about it. So it's like, well,
Yeah.
everybody to a certain extent knows about it, but it's like, people know enough and they have easy access to the information. So it's like, it's stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I live by the border, so it's like not that surprising to me.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, we're a loud country. We're loud. So, this one's one of my favorite ones. What are some hidden gems in New York that most tourists missed, but you discovered?
Bronx and Queens.
Mm-hmm.
This thing don't exist in Manhattan.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, because I feel like everybody's perspective, like people who don't live here, even in the States too, like there's people in the States that only see New York City as Manhattan, which is not
Manhattan and
really
maybe
true.
Brooklyn.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes Brooklyn, but never really Queens, Bronx, or Staten Island, even though Staten Island is kind of like there. It's not really, not much
Yeah,
there.
because when I was looking at videos like before coming here,
Mhm.
like on TikTok, um basically no one went past like 125th Street. Like everything is in Manhattan.
Yeah,
Like no one goes like to the Bronx. So basically anything that we've done in the Bronx is like tourists don't see it
yeah,
because they're
Uh,
afraid to come here. Like let's be honest.
yeah, it's true.
But for me it has felt like I when I told people back home that I would be staying in the Bronx, they were like, "Oh, what do you mean you're gonna stay in the Bronx? That's so scary."
yeah,
But I'm
my
like, I mean, most people in the Bronx, like a lot of people in the Bronx are Latino.
Yeah,
So I'm like, it's, and I'm not from a good neighborhood. Like my neighborhood was really dangerous when I was a kid. Not anymore, really, but when I was a kid. So it's like it's nothing new for me, you know.
exactly.
And if any, I've heard less gunshots here than back home. So like,
Really? Well, the more we know, shoot. That is surprising. Wow.
so yeah, yeah. Honestly, the Bronx, I really liked it so far here.
That's
me
good.
too.
That's good. I'm glad, honestly, because the Bronx does give a bad rep because there's like so many crimes that happen here and so many weird crimes that happen here too. So it's like it's very like in terms of like crimes, it's very loud. But if you know how to mind your own business and if you
Yeah.
like, look around, make sure that there's no weird people following you or trying to talk to you, you'll be fine. That's literally it. That's
Yeah,
literally
because
it.
honestly, my perspective is like in any if you're in a big city with lots of people, obviously there's gonna be more crime
Yeah, exactly.
because there's way more people in other places. So I don't know. Just mind your business and keep going.
Next question is, what is the biggest challenge you faced while living in New York?
Money.
Yeah, it's very
Yeah.
expensive here.
um that's the biggest thing for me because I got no help from my parents,
Mhm.
from my dad. Um everything like everything I saved up, I got like working like for the last 3 years. And I mean it was good enough to come here, but it wasn't enough to like spend as freely as my other international student peers.
Yeah,
I've noticed that the other international students have been able to have more experiences and been able to spend way more freely than I have. And it's kind of sad, but to be honest, I think with just by being here is enough.
yeah.
Mm.
Like,
Trust.
yeah,
I've seen one of the Korean students actually. She is in Chicago this
yeah,
week, and then
Yeah,
last week she went to LA or something. I'm like, girl, give me some of your
yeah,
money, because like I do not have that much money to be traveling around here.
yeah.
Absolutely
And I've
not.
seen like people like eat outside,
Yeah.
like
mm,
the for the 3 meals a day they eat outside. And I'm like, I cannot do that. I mean, I eat rice and beans and maruchan. And
Exactly. So it's like,
I make my meals at home.
yeah,
Um but yeah, I think yeah, it's been mostly the money, my biggest challenge. I have to keep myself in a very tight budget.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, I think it's enough to be here, and honestly, I'm really proud of myself because I accomplished this like by myself.
Yeah, then
With
you should be 100%.
yeah, that mostly has been my biggest challenge.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, that's awesome that you're like
Maybe
kind of like seeing your independence. So that's really cool.
Yeah,
for me, language barrier.
um, that's
Just
true.
I should be humble when I learn language. Mm, I'm taking journalism class, so I had to interview people in English. It was so hard, but I think I could grow up more mentally.
Mhm, mhm.
But
But you're still doing pretty good. Like, compared to
yeah,
how I first met you, your English has become much more better, in terms of like accent and like grammar and stuff like that. So don't sell yourself out too short. You're doing great.
yeah, and especially you're way. I feel like you're way more comfortable now
Hmm.
than when I
uh,
first met you.
That's
so
true.
right now,
That's true. And I like that. Like, that's like the whole point. Like I said before, it's okay to make mistakes. And yes, there'll be people like, oh, so you don't know this language. Why don't you know the language here if you're here? Like there's some weird people like that. But in the end of the day, this is your experience. You're not that person. And you just have to,
mm,
give yourself some slack, like give yourself some grace because you're doing
Yeah,
great. So don't worry too much about yes, worry about the language barrier, but at the same time you're still doing great. So
I
you're
think
improving over time. Don't worry.
thank.
Of course. So the next question is, how do you manage homesickness and moments when you miss your family and friends?
Oh, I just called with friends
Mhm.
and talked my anxieties
Mhm.
when I was homesick.
That's nice.
yeah. Honestly, like to be real honest,
Mhm.
I don't get a lot of homesickness.
Mm.
They know that like my life goal has always been to like leave.
Yeah, correct.
Um, when I miss them, I call.
Yeah.
Because I do sometimes. Also, I do miss them, but I don't get homesickness because honestly, they know I rather like be somewhere else, and I think they know it's better for me to be somewhere else. Um, but I do miss them, and I miss my cats, so
Oh,
I do.
Mm.
that-
We do call,
that's
and I
good.
do call my
Oh,
cats.
that is cute. I felt like when I went abroad, because I really wanted to go to that country, to Japan, my whole life, I
Mm.
didn't get much homesickness, as much as I thought I was. The only time I would get like really homesick is when I got sick, which was every month. But regardless, um, yeah,
I,
I didn't get that homesick.
yeah, I agree with that.
All right. So, has studying in New York influenced what you want to do in the future, either academically or professionally?
I think mostly it was a confirmation for me for like what I actually want to do because I've always been like in between fashion communication and film, and I do like both, and I've always been like, yeah, I do want to do both of those things. But I think as soon as I got here, like I got this like job at the book fair taking pictures and stuff. So I think yeah, it was mostly like a confirmation for me. Like yeah, I for sure wanna do this, and I for sure gonna work harder to accomplish this because both are not like easy jobs to get or like
Yeah.
easy areas to get into. But yeah, I already knew what I want to do, but it was a confirmation.
I thought I wanna be journalist more than before,
Mhm.
really, even though my English is still poor.
But I think that's the
Uh,
beauty about learning, like the more you learn the language and the more you're doing like, journalism and stuff like that, the more you want to do it. So it makes
Yeah.
things more fun that way, honestly.
yeah, when I was taking our journalism class,
Mhm.
I'm really inspired from professor and classmates
Right.
because they are also chasing similar dreams as well as me.
As you
Yeah,
said.
so
Oh, that's so nice. That's sweet. All right. So the next question, we have three more questions to go. So, yay. Looking back, is there anything you wish you'd done differently or prepared before arriving?
studying English.
That's funny, it.
Finding a way to get more money.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I say that.
Yeah, I tried, but I don't know. I don't know what else I could have done.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Besides getting like a job, there's not much you can do. Like,
Yeah, because I had a job constantly for since I started school.
Mhm.
So like yeah, and I also like sold t-shirts and sold my clothes and books. I don't know
And
what else I could have done, but
that's the best
like
thing you could do.
yeah.
But that's true, right? All right. So what advice would you give to students who are thinking about studying abroad in New York?
It's up to you.
Taking initiative. Yep, that's true.
Yeah. I live in Japanese community, so I sometimes feel what I am doing with them. I want to say just go out and interact with people, yeah, as much as possible.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Experience anything.
I agree with that 100%.
Yeah, I think like especially from people from my hometown, um I was told that I'm the first student from my school to come to New York.
Ooh.
I think New York it's a bit intimidating for people from the outside.
Yeah.
Um, so that's why people haven't come here. But I think even though people are intimidated and it's a little bit more hard than other places, I think if I could do it, anyone could do it, to be honest.
True, true.
um because I struggled a lot like on the way to get here, but I did. And even though it hasn't been like that easy for someone who has like no outside help, um yeah, if I can do it, I think anyone can do it. And to not be intimidated, because yeah, New York is kind of expensive, but you can find your way around things. There's a lot of free experiences.
Yeah,
um the people are nicer than you think. um it's not as dangerous as you think. So yeah, that's mostly it. Like, do not be intimidated by New York, because
yeah,
it's a beautiful place to be at.
yeah. I wanted to come here really,
Yeah.
but I cried so many times to come here, to
True.
come here.
Yeah, and now you're here. So
Yeah,
hey.
I financial problem,
Mhm.
but I did. I here right now, so I think people can do it anything to come here, even
Yeah.
if there is some problem.
Yeah, that's
If you're
true.
motivated enough, you can do it.
Yeah.
Mm,
Honestly, if you're going to any place, anywhere, honestly, you have to be the
Yeah.
one to take initiative to actually do stuff. Because
mm,
let's be honest, waiting for other people to do things with is not going to help you like do
No.
anything.
yeah,
And I
I
had to
agree.
learn that the hard way when I was over there, that all my friends were busy. Either they couldn't go to Tokyo with me even though I wanted to go, or they were too busy, or they just didn't want to spend the money. I'm
Yeah,
like, you know what? I'm going by myself
yeah,
then, you
let's
know.
do it.
Yeah.
So
And like you have to like actually like work really hard for it.
yeah.
Um because yeah, I mean it gave me the confirmation that honestly if I work hard enough for something, I can do anything.
Period.
Because this felt impossible for me. Like if you would have asked me like even a year ago, I would have thought, I mean, I am saving money for it, but I don't think I'm gonna make it. I thought it was impossible, but I did it, and I'm here.
Yes.
So yeah, just work hard and yeah.
Do it alone. Do it alone.
That's true. That is true.
Yeah, because if you wait for people to do something, you're never gonna do it. Just go by yourself and do it alone.
Yeah.
Now the final question is, which is a very simple question, I feel. Would you come back to New York later in the future?
Yeah.
Of course. So thank you all for tuning in. I hope that this episode soothed all your worries and troubles about choosing Lehman as a study abroad location. And for CUNY students listening into this podcast, please do not be afraid to communicate with the study abroad students that are currently in your university. If you have any interest in studying abroad, please do not hesitate to go by Carmen 337 in Lehman College and make an appointment with an advisor. We hope to see you on the next one. Thank you.
Thank you.